Shalom again, everybody. Rabbi Ariel here from the KosherTorah School, found online at KosherTorah.com. You know, when we're looking around, seeing what's happening in the world today, I think the one thing that's the most clear, the real issue, believe it or not, is whether or not an individual does or does not have God in their lives. Now, let's put all religions aside. Let's put all doctrines and theology aside. I love making mistakes. That's how you know that our videos here are raw and real. Like I've shared with you many times before, I don't like editing. I don't like polish. I like what's real. Because when I talk about what's real, for me, that means what's natural. And that's actually the message of what I want to share with you right now. What is natural? Remember, there are those with God and there are those without God. Now, I think all of our religions agree on the one thing, and that is God is the creator. God is the author of nature. So even when you look at, for example, some of the ideas of the founding fathers of the United States, which were very profound in their own spirituality. No, they were not promoting a Christian nation, but they were promoting a godly nation. And in that respect, included within that definition, all the different types of applications of faith and belief. That's obviously a message that I embrace and try to encourage people to follow to this day. My message is not one of my religion. I think it goes far beyond that. That's why I always point to God. And I'll tell you this. When society made the move, and I'm talking about general Western society, made the move to distance itself in the public forum from God, look at what came in its place. Very simple. We could sum it all up and say godlessness. And look at the bankruptcy of the morals, the confusions of identity. When we want to identify what is realistic and what is natural, who defines that? You, me, any of us? No. Nature defines what is natural. And you can, as many people have, in order to try to justify their social perversions, will turn to this or that in nature and say, aha, look, there it is in nature. And that means that we're supposed to be like that too. Oh, really? You want to compare yourself to an animal? Well, we're no different. There's no God. There's no soul. All we are animals. We came from the apes. Maybe you did. Obviously, I'm being facetious and a little insulting by that, but that's just not true. I'll share with you something, a little bit about science. Now, forgive me if I get a little conspiratorial here, but I know some things that, no one's ever told me that I can't share. How's that? I never had to sign any kind of non-disclosure agreements or anything of that kind. So I'm not military, but, with the type of stuff that I do, I gain access to this or that for whatever reasons. Don't go speculating. Don't be writing comments and stuff. I'm just saying that so as a preface to what I'm about to say. What we understand as modern science, so let me rephrase that, what is being propagated today as our understanding of modern science is really primitive. You would be shocked and amazed, all those government black projects that are out there, you'd be stunned if you knew what they not only have discovered, but what they have explored, and in many cases even mastered. Yeah, you'd say, hokey smokes, that's not true. It can't be. But it is. You want to talk about psychic development and the things of that nature? You'd be stunned what our secular governments have not only, again, discovered and explored, but what they know all too well. In our Torah traditions, we speak of the levels of dimensions. We all know the three dimensions, height, width, depth, and all that. The fourth dimension we call space, which is past and future. But there's a fifth dimension. That's the dimension of morality, with the polarities being good and evil. And we all exist in all these dimensions. And in some of those dark black projects out there that our governments are dabbling with, they've toppled, they've fallen into that. They've recognized that. They know that this is real. And I'm saying this to you in the name of science. And I confess, I can't prove this to you in the name of science because there's so much of this which is still, classified. And I know you don't want to believe me. And you can say, what does a rabbi know about that stuff? Fine. Okay. I'm not going to get into it with you. But I am going to offer as my proof, not this or that study of any type of government source, or not this or that person who's revealing secrets. I'm going to tell you, you go back to God, go back to nature, and sense this for yourselves. Since the development and the progression of secularism and godlessness, we have been more and more distanced from the natural way. And that has made us vulnerable to all kinds of lies, all kinds of difficulties. And that's what we're suffering from now. And the only answer to all of this is a return to God. Now, I don't care, as you've always heard me say, what religion you are or what you think about people of other religions. I look at the present conflict between certain parties out there and Jews. It's not Arab versus Jew. You think all Arabs are bad? You're sick in the head. Sorry, but it's true. You think all Jews are evil and they control the world? You're equally sick in the head. No, you have good, you have bad in all the different camps. It's always been like that, and it's still that way now. Good and evil. That is the natural dimensional parameters in which we live. And the hand of God is moving upon all of us so as to make the great separation so that we can cleanse ourselves internally from that which is unnatural. And as that force grows, that is why you see such a push against, or I should say push for the unnatural. Hatred, violence is unnatural. It doesn't matter what your faith and doctrine and beliefs are. I don't care from a Christian point of view. You guys out there, right? Thousands of years you've been at the throats of us Jews. That's going to stop. It's got to stop. You're going to say, we're all going to hell. Okay, fine, we're all going to hell. We hear that, but you don't get to decide that. God does. Catholics, what is the future fate of Protestants or Mormons? New Protestants and you Mormons, what do you say about the Catholics? What do you say about each other? Right? I'm going to tell you a Jewish teaching that ultimately, I don't care what your beliefs are. I don't care if you're by my religious definitions an idolater, because I'm going to tell you this. If you're hungry, I'm going to feed you. If you're thirsty, I'm going to give you something to drink. And if you're naked, I'm going to clothe you. And you might be wagging your finger, Rabbi, that's not Jewish teaching, which I will rephrase to you and I'll say, oh, yes, it is. Because the one who you're going to tell me said it, let me remind you, was an Orthodox Jewish rabbi, just like me. And what he was teaching you was not called a gospel, it was called Torah. And you guys out there are learning our Torah, and you don't even know it. My brothers and sisters in Islam, much of what you read in Quran and Hadith has its sources here as well. There is so much more that unites us than that which divides us. But the godless forces are out there trying to divide us, to destroy us, so as to propagate their godlessness. God knows, God watches, and God judges. They're going to do what they have to do because God is allowing it, because it's a test for all of us. United we stand, divided we fall. So you secularists out there, you atheists out there, if you cannot find your way back to God, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Why? Because somehow, somewhere in the great washing machine of creation, God will still deal with you. And eventually, however long it takes, you're going to learn. Just like King Nebuchadnezzar learned in ancient Babylon and Pharaoh learned in ancient Egypt, so the powers of this world today will equally learn as well. And for the rest of us, Psalm 16, verse 8, which is the Hebrew you see right there. I place God before me always. Put away the doctrines and the theologies that divide, sorry, and unite. That's the great message of bonding with this holy name of God. I pray that we can all do that and learn from it. Well, God's blessings. I want to keep this short and simple. I've already gone too long. Thank you again all for listening. God's blessings. Shalom.